that's funny. It's such a small world, right?
Yeah, I knew mom.
No, stop. Shut up. Oh, that's so cool. No way. Your cousin rappers too?
DJ, but.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that what a time to be alive in the early '80s for hip hop. It's too bad we didn't have like cell phones and like video didn't happen, right? Yeah, my friend. I know, we didn't even have a little text messages. We only just started getting pagers, and then the first off, because I remember, I'm dating myself. The brick with the, and you actually to run around with like a battery thing, like a suitcase. Yes, it was huge. It was huge.
Good afternoon. As you can see, I'm joined by Mayor Malik Evans and members of my command staff. On June 22nd, 2025, about 6 a.m., David Vasquez was in the rear of 24 Oscar Street, which we have confirmed was an active drug location at the time. Mr. Vasquez became involved in a verbal altercation with a male, later identified as 35-year-old Edison Estremera Cohen. During the course of the argument, Estremera Cohen shot David Vasquez multiple times at point-blank range. After shooting him, he took Mr. Vasquez's money, fled the scene on a bicycle, and left him in the backyards. Mr. Vasquez was not found behind the house until approximately 7 a.m., and unfortunately, he had already succumbed to his injuries. During our preliminary investigation that morning, major crimes detectives quickly developed a suspect description. And around 11:30 a.m., detectives got more information from yet another citizen that the murder suspect was currently riding a black BMX-style bicycle in the 1000 block of North Clinton Avenue. This citizen was able to provide a clothing description and further advised that the suspect was still armed with a handgun. As this information was being put out, Rochester police officers in a two-man patrol vehicle on North Clinton Avenue received a walk-up from yet another citizen providing the same corroborating information pertaining to the suspect that the detectives had just received. Those officers then observed the suspect, matching the description provided to them while riding a bicycle south on the east sidewalk of North Clinton Avenue, near the intersection of LaForce Street. Upon seeing the officers, the suspect jumped off the bike and began to run northbound along the sidewalk, still possessing the gun. Both officers pursued Mr. Estremera Cohen on foot. As they got to the intersection of Meade Street, a third officer then joined in the foot pursuit. At the southeast corner of the intersection, the third officer made contact with Estremera Cohen, knocking him to the ground. While still on his feet, and simultaneous to the third officer making contact with him, Estremera Cohen raised his arm and fired his 9mm handgun at the officer. At the time the weapon was fired, it was inches away from the officer's head. After the shot was fired, and as a result of the contact from the third officer, Estremera Cohen momentarily fell to the ground, but maintained possession of the handgun. He jumped up and attempted to continue running. The third officer again tackled him while he was still holding the handgun. As this officer and the suspect, Estremera Cohen, were on the ground, the suspect turned toward the backup officers with the gun. One of the backup officers was able to discharge his firearm and struck Mr. Estremera Cohen 3 times in the upper body, ending the threat to the officers. Only after Estremera Cohen was shot did the gun fall from his hand. Although the officer was not struck by the gunshot, he did suffer injuries to his head and ear from the muzzle flash. Estremera Cohen remains in the hospital. He's currently listed in stable condition, and he is being charged with the following: 2 counts of murder in the 2nd degree and robbery in the 1st degree for the murder of David Vasquez, attempted aggravated murder of a police officer, and criminal possession of a weapon in the 2nd degree for attempting to shoot and kill a Rochester police officer. Additional charges may be presented to the Monroe County grand jury. Once the grand jury process is complete, body-worn camera video and blue light video will be made available to the public. My frustration in this case remains as to why Mr. Cohen was even on the streets this Sunday morning to take the life of a citizen and almost take the life of a police officer, possibly 2. He was convicted last summer of not 1, but 2 different cases for the B felony criminal possession of a controlled substance in the 3rd degree. He was released, was supposed to return for sentencing, and then did not. For these charges that he still has not been sentenced for, he is facing up to 9 years in state prison. And yet, despite this, and after we arrested him again on May 20 for another B felony criminal possession of a controlled substance in the third degree. He was released again on June 4th and then had a deadly encounter with us and murdered Mr. Vasquez on June 22nd. You know, as I said last year when we had the vehicle pursuit that unfortunately ended in a fatality, the Rochester Police Department is doing its job 24/7, 365. Putting people into the system and having faith that the system is going to adjudicate things properly. Clearly, another example of a conversation that needs to be had about how someone who was convicted by a judge or a jury for 2 felonies was then allowed to go and told, you can just come back for sentencing. And then when he was arrested again, was let go again on the 3rd charge. None of this had to happen on Sunday. None of it. I'll turn this over to the mayor, and then we'll take a few questions.
Thank you, Chief. I'll be brief. My thoughts and prayers continue for our injured police officer, and I'd ask the community to also pray for our injured police officer. As the Chief said, this is going to require a larger conversation. As I indicated on Sunday, I am extremely frustrated with the fact that an individual who was sentenced for a crime and now was out on sentencing took a person's life and then attempted to take a police officer's life. We cannot stand for that, and every situation should be a learning experience, and we need to figure out how this happened to make sure that we don't have a repeat of an incident like this again. Also, as we mentioned on Sunday, I'll mention again, I want to thank the community. As you heard from the Chief's narration of the course of events that happened, residents stepped up and gave our law enforcement personnel, the Rochester Police Department, information on this suspect after he had committed this heinous crime on a Sunday morning. A crime that would not have happened if he was sentenced and this case was adjudicated at all deliberate speed, and that was not the case here. I would urge our judicial system to look at cases in which they have people out on sentencing to see what is happening with those cases, so that way we won't have another situation like this. I also want to reiterate that we will continue, not just in the North Clinton Avenue area where this happened, but throughout the city, to pursue individuals who think that they can carry illegal firearms in this city, firearms that they are not qualified nor allowed to possess because of their records or because the gun is not registered or it's illegal. We will continue to follow them and prosecute them and get them off the streets of Rochester. But that will also require the support of our broader community, and I urge anyone with information on drug houses, information on illegal firearms, information on people who may have committed crimes, to please call 911 or the major crime section. By us working collaboratively, we can make sure that we keep our community safe, but more importantly, we can make sure that we do not have an incident like this occur again. Thank you, Chief.
We'll take a few questions from my right to my left.
Can you talk about just how important it was for the officers to receive that tip from that citizen? I know we hear it all the time, but how helpful was it for them to find that suspect?
Well, so the real-time apprehension was based directly on that 911 call, saying not only, you know, this is what he looks like, which we knew, but he is here right now. Come get him. So would have happened eventually, wouldn't have happened that quickly without that call.
Say any information on the officer for, I wasn't sure his name would be released, or, you know, how long he was with the department.
So we'll release all their names when we release the camera footage, which looks like, you know, tentatively first part of next week. But again, we have to wait for the court process in this. The officer that was injured has approximately 31, 32 years with the department. He's doing well. Saw him the other day. And the other two officers that were with him are doing well. They're obviously on administrative assignments, but they've not yet returned to work.
Mentally, what does it do to an officer when they're that close? You go into the job every day knowing that could happen, but mentally looking at it basically in the face, what does that do to you?
Well, I mean, initially, like any human being, I don't think you realize it at first. Being here that day, I don't think the gravity of the situation that he was in had sunk in. And every person is different. But, I don't know that everyone in our community has ever had a life or death situation, but think of a highly stressful moment, in your life in what you went through, and then multiply that, and then, start thinking back about, wow, this could have been it. And that's every day for our folks.
Chief, you mentioned how well-known this individual was to the department, and of course, asking for the community's assistance too. Any message to the community just in terms of, again, doubling down on how important the tips are and information, but if there is, no drug houses, any confidence in what that information can eventually provide to make Rochester safer?
Yeah, I mean, no piece of information is too small. It's like there's no such thing as a dumb question. If you have some information, get it to us. We'll do our best to make use of it, but don't think that, oh, they must already know this. My whole neighborhood knows this. The police must already know this. Not necessarily so. So, please, there's so many avenues. There's the Reported app, there's Crime Stoppers, there's 311, 911. The mayor's office will get us information. Please just step forward.
What have the conversations been like with the family of David Vasquez?
Well, they're a family that lost a beloved part of their family to violence. It's no different than it is with any family that suddenly has a loved one taken from them. We don't, it's not our job to judge or, look at, it's not our job to victim shame, to look at, you know what I mean? This man, no matter what he was doing, did not deserve to lose his life Sunday morning. That's the bottom line. And this family has lost Mr. Vasquez. And anything he could have brought to this community in the future is now gone. All right, thank you, everybody.